5 years, 10.5 hours of music, 26 songs, employing talent from England, Ireland, and here in Scotland. The thing is, I never learnt how to read music and didn't go to music college, but what I lack in a formal education, I make up for in a passion for the absurd and to take absurd ideas, turn them into sounds that make the music that help to create this magical world. This video is a story about how we made the music for the epic Apple TV series, My Brother The Minotaur. My name's Christian Henson, and I wanted to talk today about my job and why I love it so much. It's a job that combines two of the things that give me so much joy: music and film, television, computer games. The posh, fancy word for what I do is compose. I guess if I was to describe my job, it would be helping people to tell stories. What I find so exciting about combining music and picture is it's such a powerful tool. Or as Aristotle said 2,000 years ago, the aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inner significance. And that's what music can do. It can tell you what you don't see. It can tell you what people are thinking. It can give you a context of why people are acting in a certain way, the significance of it, but also the consequence. It can tell you what's lurking around the corner, under the bed, or the floorboards. Here follows a segment featuring mallards. The crux of my day, by and large, is doing this, dragging a film into a thing called a DAW, Digital Audio Workstation, otherwise known as a DAW. Now, the software I'm using on this show was Apple's Logic Pro, but there are many of these out there, and you don't have to have an Apple Mac to be able to use one. We'll put some alternatives in the video description down below, some of which are free to use. I want to just demonstrate the power of music and how it can change your perception of this scene. So I'm going to first of all just accentuate the character of the ducks, which I always find, particularly with mallards, is slightly more impressed with themselves than is deserved. Now I can make them appear funnier than that, just literally by changing the sound from something less kind of snooty into something totally undignified. They're a funny pair of ducks, but they don't need to be. And this is me demonstrating how we can talk about the future without the future being known, and certainly not on screen. Something's about to happen, and I don't think it's good. Or maybe we can try and talk about the past. Again, the past that's not on screen or evident from the picture that we've been provided. See, I think that's a little bit tender and sweet. I actually want to make it a bit more tragic. When being met with the proposition of My Brother The Minotaur, there was one major additional attraction to this project. Storytelling aside, the consequence and context of the characters' actions was that of creating an entirely new world with music and sound. This is a a very old dulcitone from Glasgow in Scotland, which is where they invented and manufactured them. They're basically a tuning fork piano, and what I love about the instrument is that it has all of that kind of magical, and there's a kind of childlike quality. It almost sounds like a baritone music box, but without any of that Harry Potter connotation. So I had to sample every note and fix notes like these to make it sound a little less like that. Right, so let's have a little look through my Mint library of samples. There was lots. So we feature Alice playing these amazing chops, and Alice is a cellist, and I actually filmed her quite a few years ago, about 6 years ago, just over there.
It's kind of come out of bluegrass. They do a lot of it there, fiddle stuff, and people refer to it as chopping. So if you YouTube any kind of chopping, you should see. So it's using this movement
It's super cool.
and it's really good for accompanying fiddle tunes.
And the reason I organise them into samples is I like to get the musicians in really early, so we've got all of these live elements going into all of the submissions to the director and the producers. But also it then means if I need to change stuff and cut stuff up, I can do that. Well, I always like to start where picking notes are concerned, not the sounds, but the notes, and putting them in the right order is always the piano. Because it's my first instrument, there is a purity to it, which basically means you just concentrate on the notes. If it sounds good on a piano, it'll sound pretty good on anything, really. And for me, it's all about the whistle test. It's all about being able to hum stuff, keeping stuff really simple so it can be reworked and repurposed and reshaped and reharmonized, arranged. So the main theme is, and I'm embarrassed to admit this because it's quite cheesy, I thought of doing a theme that should be the title, My Brother The Minotaur. You'll never unhear that now, along with my awful singing. So so you can do this really kind of as it is, quite magical. You can do it so it just sounds a little less kind of sure of itself. Is the greatest example of why you need themes, or as they're called in German, Leitmotif, a motif to welcome in a character but also remind you who that character is. And the reason I say for the puka as being a good example is because the puka just turns into different things. So yeah, there's an eye colour that gives it away, but also just when I say a theme, it is more of a motif, a specific chord that is unmistakable. I think it's the kind of chord that would have been illegal a few hundred years ago. I think what I did is kind of give it a rhythm as well, which was da 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 da. because of my obsession with creating my own sounds, all of my own sounds, every sound that you hear, I've had some hand in creating. But as a consequence, I tend to do things back to front. Usually what happens is you'll work with a computer making demos of what the music's going to be, and eventually you build towards live sessions with an orchestra, that kind of stuff. Because I make the sounds, there's a blurring of sound and music, and I like to, when I begin a project and have the confidence of the producers and the director, I like to start with the big stuff. Right, okay, so let's talk about the process. So the Minotaur project, code name was Mint, split across 2 seasons. Season 1, season 2. Within each season is 11/12 episodes. One of them is a double episode. The same for season 2. Each about 24 minutes. Now, if we just focus on one episode, what we're dealing with is a bunch of different scenes. And in each of those scenes, we've got cuts, different shots cut together. From this comes a bunch of dialogue, but also little chunks or big chunks of sound. So this could be a car horn, this could be the sound of the sea, ocean. So what we're handed is an episode. Picture, dial, short for dialogue, and sound effects. And then we do a process called spotting. So Power of Music continues in making what will be the most boring part of this video slightly more energetic and exciting. A spotting session is working out where the director Morris wanted to put the music and what the job of the music was. And this is a cue sheet. This is the organisational aspect of what I have to do as a film composer. I'm the head of department, so I'm responsible for delivering the score. So you do need to do a bit of admin. These are the cue codes to the left, their titles, where they start, where they stop, and the notes we make during the spotting session. And then what happens through a process of collaboration, we get different cuts of what is actually an animatic, a black and white realisation which comes from Morris and informs us all where we're headed. Morris and I get to work together for a few passes, and then it gets passed on for other people to look at, and from this you get feedback notes which I cross off, as you can see here, as and when I've done what's been asked of me. What I then need to do is create a bunch of musical cues. A cue is not a scene and is not a cut. A cue can be a short moment within a scene that goes across 2 cuts. It can be a longer section that goes across scenes. It basically is a start and an end of some music. And within Mint, there were lots and lots of cues, probably about 20 cues an episode. Each cue is made of lots and lots of tracks of music called multi-tracks, which are then mixed into fewer tracks, which are called stems, which stands for stereo masters, aka stems, stereo masters. So let's have a listen to what these stems sound like. Starts for this cue called The Dream. So we're starting with some keys down here. And then further down. some perk, mysterious, and then it goes into something a little bit more aggressive, I think. And then we've got some much harder percussion. A little bit of distortion there to make the listener think that we're really pushing it. Then we've got that's pizzicato, where the orchestra is plucking their strings, but also some of them are hitting the strings with the back of the bow, which creates that amazing percussive sound. Then we've got brass, which starts off quite scary. Very kind of Minotaur-y sound then, and then there's some little woodwinds in there as well, some flutes, and then we've got, so it's very dense arrangement, this. Barons and shakers. I think that just provides a little bit of a rhythmic anchor when the orchestra's just totally rinsing it. Fantastic guitar work from Theo, who I'll introduce you to in a minute, and also like a sampled harp on the top there, which I think is a clarsach, it's called, it's a Celtic harp. So we've done the keys, done the perk, and then we've got strings. And it's interesting if you hear the interplay, because it all sounds like everything's playing at the same time. There's a good example of the strings and brass kind of answering each other. And then finally, a live whistle. I think he goes like really high up here. But there's a bigger picture than this kind of macro level. So let's go back to Mint. Season 1, Season 2 episodes. So what I have to do, let's take this episode for example, is I have got to have a start, see these little arrows here, and finish within these little cues here. And then there's something called an arc, story arc for the episode, start, middle, end. Then there's an arc of the characters developing, changing, metamorphosizing across the season. And then there's an arc across the entire project. And the way we start working on a project like this is overarching, brief. From that, we get a bunch of themes. And then these themes, sometimes all of it, sometimes a bit of it, sometimes two of them mixed together, feed into these cues. Let's hear it all together. I'm from London, England, but about 10 years ago moved up here to Scotland, which is, relative to England, a smaller country that it sits on top of it, or north of England. About 320 years ago, it was unified to form Great Britain. The first British king was indeed Scottish. The problem was with this place, Edinburgh, its capital, there was a fear that it was going to lose its mojo. What to do when it lost the Parliament of Scotland? Well, turn it into a centre of learning, of cultural excellence. About 40 or 50 miles in that direction is Glasgow, the biggest city in Scotland. And to the north, up there, is God's country. What you have in Scotland is this incredible national pride, not nationalism, cultural pride, the history, the heritage, and as a consequence, the music scene up here is bonkers. This music has legs. It emigrated to America, became the music of Appalachia, and is the direct descendant of American country and Western music. Every year in Glasgow, 40, 50 miles from here, is the biggest Celtic music festival in the world, Celtic Connections. And as a consequence, there is a talent pool of musicians here, the likes of which you wouldn't believe. Scotland is only 5 million people. That's the population of Minnesota, 1/10 of that of England. But what it exports culturally and with its ideas is phenomenal. The telephone, the television, the steam engine, penicillin, all the way to the ATM, cloning, and let's not forget something that was invented about 1.5 miles from where I'm standing here, golf. Google famous Scottish bands, you'll be surprised. So when I started talking to the producers of My Brother The Minotaur about our approach, I said, wouldn't it be amazing if we had a really cinematic John Williams style score, but realised by the amazing musicians that are to be found here in Scotland. the way that I judge if music is good is literally a visceral reaction. My hair's standing up on my arms and hopefully the back of my neck, and if possible, a little tear leaking from your eye. And as a consequence, you form a really strong bond with the people you work with.
My name is Theo Lederf. I'm a composer, songwriter and guitarist, and I played guitar and songwrote and composed on My Brother The Minotaur. I don't know where to start. It kind of was dependent on each episode and the vibe of each episode. Like for instance, this guitar I used quite a bit. It's just a Taylor GS Mini, that's what it's called. But the quirk is that I took all of the standard strings off, all of the standard 6 strings, and strung them high. So it's like a high strung guitar. So it has a lot more of a higher register. There were quite dense mixes that I was dealing with within the episode, so a lot of orchestral stuff. So I needed something that would really cut through all of that, and this one did that really well. For layering up finger-picking parts, it was amazing.
Let's have a listen to some of Theo's amazing guitar soundscapes.
The main acoustic that I used is my favorite acoustic ever that I own. So it's this standard strung. So when I needed something a bit lower and beefier, I would use this for finger picking. It's a Guild F20, and I think it's from 1967. And it's my pride and joy. I love this guitar. And for more strummy stuff, I use this big jumbo boy, which is a Gibson J45 Studio Rosewood, and basically for any sections that required me to have something that was more propellant and rhythmic, I would use this because it has a really nice strong attack to it. I was also given the freedom to be very experimental with these guitars. For Mint, I think I wanted to create stuff that was reminiscent of a guitar, but also had a kind of otherworldly quality to it. So I used this, which is a bouzouki, which is often used in trad music, but I tuned it so each string was the same note. So I would go, for instance, E, 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 E. So these 4 pairs of strings would all be E. And that sounds a bit kind of wacky. I'd use a bow with it and bow like you would a cello. And this created a kind of nickel harp style tone. Yeah, I believe that tuning is called ostrich tuning, and it was coined by Lou Reed. I'm sure it was done before him, but he coined the term.
That really loosens your fillings, that one. This is a reverb that I used lots in Minotaur, very large black hole. And I reckon slowed down, this is going to sound awesome. Let's take it down 2 octaves. The problem I think that we had when it was suggested that songs are put on this series was that we were creating this entirely unique and new world, and feared that needle drop, songs that had already been written, was going to take us out of that world. So the music supervisor, Maggie Rodford, suggested, what if we were to write songs that stemmed from this world, that came out of the score, used the themes, used the chords, used the sounds, but also in turn informed the score, informed the sounds. Maurice and Frank thought this was a good idea, so I picked up the phone and called some pals, because a project like this isn't just a collaboration between Frank Garcia at Apple, the guys at Cartoon Saloon, the director Maurice Joyce and myself, but indeed an armada of collaborators and contributors. The music department alone was a cast of literally hundreds of talented musicians, but also technicians such as engineers Nick Taylor and David Donaldson, music editor Andy Glenn, and music producer Joe Patterson. But what made this project unique and really special was we also got to work with brilliant individuals from the world of song. Adam Holmes, Sally Stenning, Heidi Talbot, and my friend Caroline, who flew over specially for a day of celebration, Nando's Chicken, and to play a track that we wrote together for the project in my front room. We also took the opportunity to talk about writing songs to picture and how that differs from writing albums. I think the first thing that we kind of did together was Chasing Liberty. It was a Mandy Moore film, 2004. And since then, we've done how many?
Every project that you've had, if there's been a space where I can fit, you've invited me to try.
As a singer-songwriter, more often than not, you tend to be singing about stuff that you've experienced, stuff about you.
Yep. When you're writing for yourself, you're expressing your own experiences, or you're trying to resonate with the experience of someone that's sort of close to you. It's a little bit more emotional, and I don't want to say that that means that when you're working to brief that there isn't that sense of emotional connection as well, because there is, but writing to brief just puts you in a place where it's just like, right, this is nothing like anything you've experienced, and now you have to really sort of look into it, find your way into it emotionally, find your way into it sort of sonically and musically, and you're delivering to someone else's imagined sort of, they've got a scene that they want to be enhanced by, a song that fits the story, a song that fits again, what's happening on screen, and you get given these briefs. And
so can we explain what a brief is?
Yeah, so a brief is...
Not briefs.
No, a brief is essentially just an outline of what it is a producer and or a director wants in order to fit a scene in a movie. You'll see in many movies there's like source material, source music, which is music that's already been written not for the film, but something that really fits the scene. Like a car chase will have some sort of, but this is different, because this is, you get given information about the characters, you get given information about the arc of the story, you get given information about, again, what's happening immediately in that moment, and then you'll get given maybe a reference track. For me, it's like a really, really beautiful jigsaw puzzle, and I'm given all the pieces. People might imagine that it fences you in, but it doesn't. You're given all the pieces.
What I tend to do is write the music. Sometimes there may be an idea of, there might be a thematic melody in there.
Yeah.
The reason you're brought in as a, well, you have sensibility because you know how to write songs, but you're doing the top line and the lyrics.
Yeah.
And sometimes they give you some lyrics sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna, my favourite brief was, again, one that you gave me, which was absolutely hilarious, which is write a song for a boy band from the 90s, mind that they only charted at 112, titled Blue Jeans Baby. And I was like, oh, I can write the out of that.
So the idea with that is it's not meant to be, you don't want to leave the audience going, well, I thought that song was brilliant. No. It's meant to be something that would chart at 120.
It was suitably low quality songwriting.
So that was for Inside Number 9. It was. One of the reasons why I think that we've written so many songs over the years is the preponderance of songs are written about love.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, if you want to get a song synced, don't make it about love. So a great example of that is there was this band that had one hit in the late 80s, early 90s called Fairground Attraction.
Yeah.
It's Got to Be Perfect.
Yeah.
And then there was Bobby McFerrin, who did another perfect one. And then James Brown, I Feel Good. Yeah. It's like just being all over it.
Yeah.
And for my Brother The Minotaur, it wasn't an easy brief. It was, you need to write a heartfelt and uplifting song about training to be a warrior.
Yeah, I don't find it confining at all. I find it like a gift. It's just like, here you go, here is exactly what you need to do, and I'm like, well, thank you very much, that's really helpful.
I think the most important thing in composition is confidence and the abandonment of any sense of shame. And I have a particular character trait that is born of someone from earlier in my life. I went to this state school in Notting Hill, before Notting Hill was Notting Hill, if you know what I mean. And there was this guy who would come in once a week and take 2 classes from every year, and we'd spend an hour with him, and his name was Ivor Cutler. He famously appeared as the bus driver in the Beatles film Magical Mystery Tour. He was a nonsense poet and an absurdist, and he was really feared in the school as a very strict teacher. But what he was really strict about was when we weren't being imaginative or absurd enough. And I think that I was probably slightly traumatized by this, but I'll never forget sitting in this Victorian hall, and there were these old gas heaters on the wall, and they were quite high up, and he brought in a stepladder, and it was a few weeks before Christmas, and he said, if you go up the stepladder and wish into the magic heater, this will get passed on. It's a means of communicating to Santa. But heaters will only accept something that's imaginative. So I remember I was maybe the 3rd or 4th child to step up, and I went up and he said, okay, Christian, tell the heater what you want for Christmas. And I said, a computer. And he berated me in a way that I cannot recall a teacher ever giving me a row like this guy did, screaming at me, really, really, genuinely disappointed at me. And then my best mate to this day, I mean, we're talking like we're 9 years old here. He gets up to the stepladder and he stares into the heater and he goes, I want wings made of fingernails. At which point this teacher just applauded and was so happy with his contribution. And I think that key point in my life has meant that I have a fear of conformity, of being unimaginative and not trying to be as absurd as possible. The more ridiculous any idea seems is, I think, more of a reason to do it, provided you're not taking any risks or hurting anyone else or flushing money down the drain. If it's something that springs into your mind, sounds absurd, it's likely to sound absurd because no one else has thought of it before. I've wanted to write music for picture since I was 5 years old, and the biggest single privilege that I think I had in my childhood was a pair of parents who didn't think that this was a stupid idea, so I got their encouragement and support. It's not the same for everyone, but anyone can make music, and anyone, well, if I can do this job, anyone can. So if you're looking for help into how you could possibly move into the world of working with picture and with music, we've left a massive list of links in the video description down below. Subscribing to this channel would be a good start, but I hope this has been an inspiration for you, and I've really enjoyed sharing this truly wonderful experience of working on a really special project. The series is on Apple TV if you have that, and the album is out now. Again, links in the video description down below. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. It's been a long video, but it was a big project, so I think it deserves it.